Awesome. We'll go ahead and get started. Good morning. Welcome to the June 12th, 2025 ESS Finance Subcommittee meeting. We will go ahead and start with the May 8th summary of subcommittee action. Everyone have a chance to review the minutes from the May 8th meeting. Any additions, corrections that anyone had? Hearing none, I would take a motion for approval.
This is Geraldine. I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Geraldine. Do I have a second?
This is Sherry. I'll second.
Thanks, Sherry. Okay, we'll move on to Samantha, or actually Lisa. She'll talk about the accounts receivable, or both of you. We'll just let you guys talk.
So we have a larger than usual accounts.
Vote.
Should we vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries for the minutes passing of May 8th. So thank you, Mel. Okay.
Okay, so the accounts receivable balance is larger than usual because the maintenance invoices were issued to all of the counties in May. Samantha's been keeping track of payments as they come in. I know that she's made regular trips to the bank, and I think she has maybe later in the meeting, she might have an updated balance due table to share, but otherwise there's nothing outstanding that's not related to maintenance invoices at this time.
Thank you, Lisa. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, we'll go ahead and dig into the financial report, starting with the June summary of May ESS payments. What's Samantha?
Okay. I have the 3 Oasis payroll invoices highlighted here just for a reminder. We did have 3 cycles in the month of May. Normally it's just 2. And then also we have a mileage reimbursement for Travis and Anne, who attended the ESS coordinating meeting in the month of May. Credit card purchases for May was way higher than normal. Mostly it's due to the new computers for the 2 IT or developers. That was approved to be purchased in both meetings last month. So that's what that $9,196 is. The $54.55 was for drinks for the in-house ESS coordinating meeting. And then we also had the annual subscription for set to go for the what is that? The set to go DB annual expense. The $9.62 was for batteries for the office. We didn't have any batteries left, so we went and ordered those. The $203.41 was for lunch for the ESS coordinating meeting. And then the $9.63 was to reimburse us for 1 meal that attendee couldn't participate, and then the tax refund. The $19.99 is for the Adobe expense. This is a normal expense every month. It was for the extra Adobe subscription that we needed maybe late last year. But then we decided that we didn't need that anymore after Census left. So this is the cancellation expense down here. So you won't see this expense anymore. I'd be happy to answer any questions on the payment reports.
Any questions for Samantha?
What was the sectical again?
It's for the domain registration.
Okay. Thanks.
And that's a yearly, right?
Yep, it hits every May.
Okay, every May. Well, it says annual, I'm sorry. Okay. Any other questions? If not, I would take a motion for approval.
This is Mel. I can move.
Go ahead, Mel. I will go ahead and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Amy's in the chat pod, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move on to the June Fund 255 reimbursement.
June Fund 255 reimbursement, it came in at $34,386.72. This is a little bit lower than you normally see. I asked for the detail, and they did get that to us. There was a couple counties that didn't get those $1 fees over to the state treasurer before the monthly invoice came out. And so this is to cover the 3 payroll periods, or help us cover the 3 payroll periods in May. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or I'd ask for your acceptance and approval to submit this to the state treasurer's office.
I'm wondering if that's something that we might have to just remind everybody about, because I think we're supposed to have it to our treasurer, and then they're supposed to submit it by the 10th of the month.
Okay. Yeah, I think there was 3 counties that had 0.
Okay.
Maybe I'll get with Lisa later and we can
Okay.
maybe send a reminder.
That sounds good. So maybe they don't, maybe there's a glitch or something, but I think that's pretty straightforward. So might be something to do.
Okay.
Great. Anybody have any other additional questions? If not, I would take a motion to approve the June Fund 255 reimbursement invoice.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Susan. Do I have a second? Amy seconded in the chat pod. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to the April financial reports.
Okay. The Bankers Trust checking account had a beginning balance of $0 and an ending balance of $0. The account was successfully reconciled here. The Bankers Trust money market sweep account had a beginning balance of $1,260,692.26, with an ending balance of $1,274,513.43. Interest rate is still at 1.36%. When we first started the money market sweep account, the interest rates were pretty high. It was 1.8%, but by the time we got it set up, it had dropped to 1.2%. So we're seeing a little bit of an increase here, still not where we were hoping to have that interest rate every month. And the money market sweep account reconciliation. And the drawdown account. Profit and loss for April. Money market interest came in at $1,354.41. We did have 2 bad payment fees in the month of April. So Fund 255 reimbursement was $49,961.89. And budgeted income, $177,262.80. A bank account analysis fee came in at $1,411.25. And the Light Edge billing was $8,160.40. This is a little bit higher. We did have a 3% increase on 3 of the items that we subscribed to from them. So this was a catch-up billing for 2 months prior as well. So the normal new bill will be about $8,048. Total budgeted expenses, $124,109, with total budgeted net income at $53,153.80. Revolving income came to $3,437,712.41, with total income at $3,614,975.21, with total I think I said that, sorry. Budgeted expenses again, $124,109. The back file redaction was a little bit higher this month. In April, we had some back file redaction submissions accidentally go through, about 53,000 of them, I believe. So this is a little bit higher. Normally, this is about $4,000 to $5,000. Depreciation, $22,364.82, with revolving expenses at $3,421,851.24, with total expenses at $3,577,658.92, with total net income at $37,316.29. I did prepare a comparison from 2024 compared to this year for April. So as a reminder, we didn't start the money market interest until November of last year. So prior to us starting that account, we were getting a savers credit of 0.75% on the total average balance of the checking account each month. With starting that money market sweep account, we are getting 1.36% interest. And this is to help us try to regulate or pay for those bank account analysis fees down here. So even though it's not as good as we expected it still is saving us a little bit of money. Bad payment fees. So in 2024, we weren't actually charging the customer for a bad payment or a chargeback. However, Professional Solutions was charging us $30 at this time last year for each bad payment or chargeback, and then they raised it to $35, I believe, in June last year. So we're just passing that cost on to the customer when we receive those chargebacks. Point of sale, up 108.4%. This is a boat year, and then we've also been hearing that vitals and ATVs have been increasing. And then the OD service fee, this is for the Lynn County On Demand. They have a website where people can go and renew their boats, ATVs, etc. And this has really begun to increase. Last year, we only had a couple of them, so we only made $1.53 in April. This year, $416.13. And we're still, even in June, still seeing this service being used a lot more. E-submission, a huge increase in activity. It's well above budget. When we set up our budget for 2025, we used the 2004 numbers, not expecting the submissions to have increased that much, and we're still seeing e-submission numbers rise. So that's a huge huge in contributing to the net income. Total budgeted income up 27.1%. With everything that's going on in the market and just being very unstable, this is it's a huge surprise. And hopefully this continues. The annual audit, So Denman had an open spot at the end of March this year. So we did do the audit a month before we normally do. Normally we do it at the end of April. So this is just the progress billing for the work that they had already done. We budgeted for this in June. So this is just, we just moved it up a little bit. So this is still in budget. It's just hit before we had it on the budget. Bookkeeping CPA 990 account. After meeting with the auditor, they thought maybe we shouldn't have that expense in the 990 accounts because we don't outsource accounting anymore. So I made a new account. So it's just down here now in the same section as the other marketing, account manager, customer support, payroll. So that is down here at $6,993.29. And then also that increase is not because the accountant is getting paid more. Kay left in March, and then I started at the very end of April last year. So that's what that increase is. Bank account analysis fee, we kind of touched on with the money market sweep account interest. Gateway transaction fees. So with more sales volume comes more fees. However, the 14,000 and the 11,000 more in net income kind of offsets that 5,000 more in fees. For forward file redaction, last year CSI and Tyler were switching. I believe CSI bought, or maybe Tyler bought CSI. So this was just a catch-up bill from the last couple of months in 2024. Normally this expense is $3,000 to $5,000 a month. Data center and hosting, this is Light Edge. Last year we did move completely to the cloud, and Light Edge was having monthly billing issues. And so that's what this is. They did refund us for this expense at the end of June last year. Total budgeted expenses, $124,109 compared to $114,982. So a 7.9 increase in budgeted expenses. And net income was up 117.2% for 2024 compared to 2025. Balance sheet, Bankers Trust sits at $557,732.43. This is not what's actually in that checking account. The checking account balance is actually zero. However, this is all the unreconciled items that sit in QuickBooks. And then the money market sweep account at $1,274,513.43. We'll talk about the amortization a little bit more when the auditor is here in August, but we decided to amortize the IT expenses. So if you remember last year, we received that unexpected bill from Seuss. And so we are going to pretty much depreciate this over the next several years instead of taking that huge expense all at once in 2024. Total assets and liabilities came to $2,834,757.48. And then this is also with that IT expense. I did prepare the journal entries that we did for the audit. We will cover these when we cover the full audit in August, but I did want to share those with you. And then journal entries for April. Most of this is just moving money in and out of the sweep account and the checking account. Depreciation, the new depreciation amount will be the $22,604.75. And then I did do a catch-up entry January through March for the $239.93. This was my fault. I had a equation not in the Excel file when I was calculating the depreciation for the year. And then the Tyler Technologies, this is that 58,000 docs that accidentally went through redaction in April.
Okay, I'm going to jump in, Sam.
Yep.
They didn't accidentally go through. They were supposed to go through, but they went through as forward file when they should have gone through as back file. So
Okay.
it wasn't an error that they were sent to redaction. It was an error that they went through as forward file instead of back file. And so we did have to do a journal entry to get the expense to the correct category.
So were these for older documents that people were putting through, or what was this?
Yes, back file documents are anything prior to 2020. So, yep, lots of historical documents. You may remember that last year in June, towards the end of June, CSI had a cyber event and we shut down all redaction with them until that was resolved. Excuse me. And then when they got back up and running, I think that was in August, but prior to them up and running, Kelly and team were able to put together something to get forward file documents public every day. Each of the counties that had anything with personally identifiable information would email us so we could make sure that information was redacted before it did become public. So then CSI got everything up and running. We wanted to make sure everything worked for forward file before we proceeded with back file documents. So any of those historical documents, because even though docs weren't going to redaction, all the counties continued to back scan and send those to ILR, just like they should be. So anyway, got that back up and running. And so that's why you've seen a higher than usual back file expense recently. So there were, I don't remember how many thousand documents there were, but I know we've made lots public recently. Does that make sense, Jolyn?
Yes, it does. Thank you. I was going to ask that question clear back, but then I thought I'd wait till we were done.
Okay.
Mhm. And then I have a question, Samantha. So with the amortization, that's when in August, Denman, they'll just kind of go through that with us. It's like with the audit review.
Yeah, yep. And so
that-
this, yeah, so with the intangible assets, it's pretty much the same thing with our fixed assets. But we're just gonna take that expense in over the
And
next
stretch
3
out.
years. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you. I didn't write it down right, so I had to ask. So thank you.
The credit card account, beginning balance of $4,049.51 with the ending balance of $1,789.48. We were successfully able to reconcile the credit card account. Fund 255 account for April had a beginning balance of $166,034.46 with an ending balance of $150,459.29 with total receipts of $34,386.72. This is the same amount that we approved earlier to send to the state treasurer's office for the June 1st invoice. And the Fund 255 reconciliation. Profit and loss for the Fund 255. So in the month of March, we had a higher invoice, 49,000. And then this month we'll have 34,000. So that's why the net income is at negative 15,000. And balance sheet for April of total assets and liabilities at $150,459.29. I'd be happy to answer any questions for the April finance reports.
Any additional questions from the group? You're all pretty quiet.
Back to the counties that didn't get their $1 fee turned in. Have they now been turned in?
I believe so. I haven't received the detail for the month of May yet, but the invoice did come in quite a bit higher.
Not the invoice, the balance sheet that they provide to us every month.
Yeah.
Oh.
Interestingly, though, those reports that come to us for Fund 255 come from the State Treasurer's Office. The report has to be run by the Department of Transportation. I know, I don't understand that either, but that's what they tell us. That's where the report comes from. So,
Okay. Good to know. Any other questions? If not, hearing none, I would take a motion to approve all of the April financial reports as presented.
Sherry, I'll move.
Thanks, Sherry. Do I have a second?
I can second. Mel.
Thanks, Mel. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll go ahead with the audit update.
Denman has completed the audit. I did include the audit down here for you to review and hopefully gather all of your questions for when they are present in the August meeting. And we're not going to go over the audit today, but we recommend that you read through it, get any questions that you would have for the auditor or for ESS, and we will answer all those questions in August.
Okay.
on to metrics, Sam.
Yep.
So if you look at the chart, you can see that 2025, which is the light orange, is matching 2022, which is really a great place for us to be. I think I've generated a couple reports so far this month, and it looks to me like e-submission continues to be up. And if any of you can provide any information on what you think reporting activity looks like in your office, we'd be happy to hear that. But everything continues to increase and or stay steady, and that's a good place for us to be. Okay. On to point of sale returns and voids. Excuse me. Just a gentle reminder that we'll get out in a newsletter. We'll probably talk about it next week when we see all of you at summer school. That anytime you have something with point of sale, it should always be a void. It should never be a return, because that money does come out of the ILR account, not out of your local account, because the point of sale system has no connection with your account. And then we would invoice you and ask you to send us a check. So policy does allow us to charge the county $25 if that error is made. And so I think there'll be further discussion on if everyone wishes to continue to have that charge in place, or if it should be charged discretionally. We have not been charging the counties that. We know money is tight for everyone. So just a general reminder. And then also, if you can, as you are processing transactions with your customers and constituents as they're in the office, remind them that it will show up on their bill as, I think it's electronic services system. Kristen created something that you could post at your counters. You could use it when you're mailing things out, because we do get a few questions off and on about what is this for? And then we say, okay, did you do a boat? Did you do, a vital? And they're like, oh yeah, that's right, I remember that. So maintenance, anyone have any questions about that? Okay. Maintenance invoices, as we said previously, were issued to all counties in May. We ask that everyone pay as soon as possible after July 1st, as we will be writing checks to these service providers. We'll issue some reminders to anyone who hasn't paid after the July 4th holiday.
And then Lisa, do you want me to share the up-to-date AR report?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that's all we have. That's all we have left as of this morning.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. As we'll be
Awesome.
writing some substantial checks to the service providers in right around the 1st of July. They
Yeah.
tend to get those invoices to us for quick payment. So I don't know why. Anyway, they need to be paid as well. We all understand that. Okay. Appointment of ESS technical lead that was approved by the ESS committee in May for Myrna. And she's been doing a terrific job with Nancy as backup. So they're working together really, really well as a team. The ESS committee did approve the 1099 technical service agreement with the prior technical lead, Kelly Wallace. I would say that from everything I know, Myrna and Nancy have had to contact him minimally for tech support, and he will be doing some special projects for us as directed by Phil as that comes up through the end of the year. So if you were not at the ESS meeting, I said that finding out that Kelly would be available for the phone a friend gave me a real sense of peace because he is so knowledgeable and really, really easy to work with. ILR staff compensation adjustments were approved by the ESS committee in May, and those went into effect on June 2nd. Sam, can you speak to the contract supplement with Avenue?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yep. So Myrna and Nancy, Phil, and I met with Avenue, I think about almost a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. We did provide them with an offer. They are going to look over the contract and hopefully have something back to us this week. I think they have a few amendments to the agreement that they would like to make.
Yeah, so, and of course, before any payment is made, that will be approved by the ESS committee.
Yes.
And then regarding the technical services work authorization with Lean Techniques and We Write Code, per direction of the ESS committee, Phil did get cost estimates secured for a first generation notification and shielding system. The scope of work has not been finalized, but there were good discussions, and this memo talks about what the costs would be if we were ready to move forward, or when we are ready to move forward. So there's money in the budget for this, but the money budgeted does not cover the full project, and so there would need to be additional funds coming from somewhere. And so again, if before any decisions are made or anything moves forward, it would be brought to ESS for approval, and it has been the practice. It would be discussed here with you as well. And we would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the group? I think you guys covered it very well, and a lot of the stuff that you touched on, we had already talked about, and
Right.
it was visited and talked about a lot during the ESS meeting,
Right.
committee meeting. So
we're looking forward to seeing you next week. If there's anything specific you would like us to cover in our presentation, I forget if we're 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock on Thursday morning. If you can shoot one of us a message, we'd be happy to add that to the presentation.
yeah,